we doing over here, Andy?
We're gonna ratchet strap these seats into the back of the pre-runner for more seating.
These seats right here? Ooh. They look pretty comfy.
Or something.
Let's see how they feel. Ooh, they're kind of stiff.
You might have seen on Instagram in the past week or so, I had shared some of our billet components that we decided to make for this truck. As we've been saying all along, we're not just changing parts on the truck just to change them. If we're not going to completely redesign and do something to make it 10 times better than what it was, we're not just ripping parts out of the truck for decoration. We do have certain things that will carry over that we decided to bring into production because they fit in everybody's build, like the Switch Pros switch cover. We've got some cup holders and everything in the works. Zach can go ahead and explain a little bit more about how we got to where we are in the process of how they're made and designed.
So our engineer Jake, not that Jake, not you Jake, another Jake, been designing and prototype printing some parts for us. You can see here, these are all 3D printed plastic. The reason we do this is because it's way cheaper to produce a part before we go into CNC machining. Like you can see here, we did this one first with the logo in the front, but we put it on the truck and didn't like it. So then he redesigned it and went to the rear. So it was way cheaper to do this out of plastic with a 3D printer than it is billet. So this is all 6061 billet aluminum, and these are starting in production currently, or they're in production currently. And then we're also going to have the S-Pods, Force 12, the bigger one.
We did the first run. We have black, raw aluminum, gold, and hard anodized gray. And I saved 5 from each run for custom colors, but obviously there'll be a little bit longer lead time as those have to be worked in with batches. But we've already had a few guys ask about doing fox orange. That is an incredibly difficult one to replicate because it's all by batch times, but you can do, we've done king blue before, that's been a popular one. It all depends on what your taste is. We do have a few things in the works for these models as well. We're working on a billet cage clamp, so if you want to mount these up on your roll bar for a Jeep, or if you're going to put these in like a 6100 truck, or if you have Switch Pros in your Can-Am. And then also in this setup, ours are machined where they have standoffs for the leather and the thickness of the upholstery we're using. In the production model, we'll include a series of nylon sleeves that will basically be at different depths, so you can either surface mount it. They will all be riv nut with stainless hardware, but depending on if you want to use upholstery or if you're going to use fiberglass or sheet metal, you'll have different standoffs included in the kit.
This is the stock Switch Pro that came, so you can see the difference in our design and the billet aluminum versus their stock plastic, which nothing's wrong with this, just like Jake said, we want a little bit, not higher quality, but you know, different build. And so that's that. Here's the 3D printed piece for the prototype, and then we're also working on cup holders. Got a cup holder, and we're trying to make it, or we are making it, so it'll fit a Red Bull can, a Sundrop can, or any Coke can, or even a Yeti. So we're working on design right now with some spring fingers to help hold all the cans in place so they don't slosh around when you're out causing whatever you're causing. But here is the lid, or this is going to be all billet also, but the latch and lid system for our center console. And if there's enough interest, we probably can make it a production piece. If y'all want to kind of see it here, it'll be, you know, key lock, so this will, you know, push in and hinge up. But it's the early stages of design for this guy here, so it'll be about yay high. Put your cell phone and all your coins in there.
All we have left before we send this bastard off to upholstery, we've got, we're gonna go ahead and locate our kill switch in the back of the center console because it's centrally located in the truck. You can shut it off from the driver, passenger, or anybody in the rear. All of the wiring, as we've discussed in prior episodes, we relocated the batteries to the bed of the truck. That'll be centrally located in the center of the truck, so you have your terminals going from those posts to your center, and all of the factory GM electronics were in the passenger side firewall. So it gives you a chance to have really clean ground and power leads running along the frame, still have the safety and security of a battery kill switch.
It's centrally located.
We're going to go ahead and machine a cover plate for this, and then we went ahead and decided we're going to make this an access panel to make it easier to hook up the AC connections and the power switch. One of the most annoying things about any of the new trucks, doesn't matter who makes them, Chevy, Ford, Dodge, they use 500 different size fasteners on all throughout the truck. Obviously you have to on different sizes and different parts, but for 90% of the frame you'll have on the same bracket. You'd have a metric bolt on one side, standard on the other. But one of the cool things we've been able to do since we made most everything in back here, 90% of the back half of this frame is all half 20 threads. So whether it's a through bolt going through the frame, or the C-notch, or these two bolts holding down the front side of the bed cage, the bed itself is actually mounted with half 20 by 4 inch. They're all properly shanked. We took welded bushings. Zach machined some down, and they're actually welded into the frame as bungs. We didn't use welded nuts, or everything is hidden and clean, but it gives you a complete uniform look, and you only need 2 sockets to take apart the back half of this truck, with the exception of the suspension components. As you can see, we also posted earlier this week, we got our INNOV8 bed support braces in. This is probably one of the nicest kits I've ever seen or dealt with. Jason provides you with everything that you need to install this. It comes with a center punch to mark your holes properly. He even includes a nutsert tool, which is insane for, I mean, anything nowadays. It's such a convenience. You don't have to have anything but
the only thing we needed was drill bits
and a tape measure.
Yeah.
You go ahead and you drill your hole into your bedside. You install your nutserts. It gives you a nice, clean, flush mount. We chose on the bottom on this side to go ahead and we just through bolted ours, because on the GMs the rib lining is a little bit different than the Chevy, and also on the Chevys this piece stays the same depth all the way up. So typically you mount your bed supports closer towards the tailgate, but with the amount of stuff that we had going on and the LED light and everything on this one, we decided to go stepped into the flatter location, and it still gives you that nice clean look and gives you the added rigidity what they're intended for. And then obviously, like everything else on the truck, we switched it out for ARP, 12 points on both the head and the nut to match the rest of the truck. We also got some of the plumbing started on.
We also started plumbing and running the lines for the CBR trans coolers, running dual coolers here, so we got a cross line and then in and out. But you can see here we used Bryan Miller lines and fittings and went over to SRI and they crimped them for us. Luckily for us, they're right down the street, SRI and Bryan Miller, so they can crimp the lines for us. So we made some standoffs for the bedsides, put the bedside back on, made some braces here. We used Tech washers and countersink bolts. Bedsides are going to paint this week, so KO's gonna block them a couple more times and work the body lines a little better, and then paint them Onyx black to match the rest of the truck. So can't wait to see it back in black. It'll be good. Then we can final mount those. We can go from there. We can get the fenders going next.
Another feature that we carried over from the race car world, what you see on, this is actually a Formula One car fitting. This is called a Staubli connector. Bryan designed and engineered this fuel cell to be removable from underneath the frame, and you can get access to the fuel pump sending unit. Everything is located right here on the top half, but The rest of the fuel system would drain when you disconnect that. So you use these dry brake pressure lock fittings. They're very expensive, but they're also very convenient. We use these on the fuel system, and it'll also be on the brake lines as well. And on the brake lines you use, it's a different style fitting, but it's still a dry brake style. If you ever go to service your calipers or service any of your brakes, you can do so without losing pressure or having to re-bleed. It just makes life 10 times easier, even just for the sheer fact if you ever go to do anything or service, you don't lose fluid everywhere. Fuel is one of the most large pain in the asses to deal with because you have the fumes and everything. It takes forever if you have a spill before you can go and safely weld again, start grinding. So for both safety, convenience, and the clean look in the frame to keep everything minimal, we went ahead and got rid of all of the plastic fuel lines that come from GM and converted everything to Brown & Miller. I believe all of these are -6.
So we ran the stock seat belts for now. As you can see here, we got them just quick ran. We're gonna make those work for the time being, and then eventually we have the option of running the harnesses and put a crossbar in here if we want to. But for now, we're just gonna run these and see how they work out. Also, we're gonna work on soon. We're gonna be working on a closeout panel for here. As you can see, it's a little dark there, but you can see here it's all just open. There's no carpet or upholstery or nothing. So we're going to make a panel, get upholstered, mount a fire extinguisher, and a few other odds and ends just to fill this space here. So we'll make a panel, closeout panel, get it upholstered either in, I don't know if we'll do carpet or leather or paint, but it'll be finished nice. Go with the rest of the truck.
Well, boys, just like that, another fill-in day at JJ's Performance Shop, all wrapped up. Tune in next week for another sick video. We'll see you later. What's up with the blue tape right here?
Oh, that's so nobody bent into them when they were walking.
So what's this special purpose?
Huh?
What's this special purpose?
That's what holds the... Hold on now, you. If we're gonna talk about it,
Let's talk about it.
Steering feels floaty. Yeah.